Hey, I'm Cedric. Today we're going to be talking about the anvil and the knives. We will be showing you how to adjust the anvil. We'll be showing you how to sharpen the knives. We'll be showing you how to flip and or replace the knives, and we'll also be talking about how to adjust the rope cable shear. Let's begin. Why is it important to have sharp knives on your chipper? Have you ever tried to use a dull pair of scissors and you're straining so hard you're more likely to cut your own hand? Well, the same is true for the wood chipper. Dull knives, you're just more likely to have an accident. More likely things go wrong. So it's important to have sharp knives because the easier it is on the chipper, the easier it is on you. You're not gonna have to look at your knives to know they're dull. Sometimes you could just look in the back of your truck and notice long stringy sticks coming out or big chunks of wood coming out. You can also just tell by the overall performance of the machine. It becomes more difficult to feed in debris, and wood chips don't come out of the chute as fast as they normally should. Now, whenever we're working with the machine, we need to lock out, tag out, which means disabling the machine from starting and locking all moving parts in place. So we'll begin with taking the key out and putting it in our pocket. We're going to put on our cut resistant gloves because we're going to be working with the knives. Next, I'll take out the drum hood disable plug. Get up here. Okay. I'm going to take this drum lock pin and lock the drum in place. So here's the hole right here. Now the drum is locked in place and we can sharpen the knives. So now that we've locked out, tagged out the machine, we can begin to sharpen the blades. We'll use the knife saver and the bastard mill file. So let's begin. Here we have our knife. We have the retention bolts right here, 5 of them. And where the angle meets the edge is the bevel. You're gonna take your knife saver first, place the blade between these 2 sharpening stones, and you're gonna pull towards you. You don't want to pull away. And you repeat this process until the blade has been sharp. The blade has been sharpened. Now you can tell by just either looking at it, you can feel it very carefully, or you can kind of tell with the new layer of shiny metal that's come across the blade. You may have to go from either side of the chipper just to hit the whole blade. You can kind of tell right here, it's just kind of hard to get. After that, we're gonna take our bastard mill file and maybe just file down some of these really rough parts, or just that extra smoothness of the blade. So after that's been completed, we can move on to the next blade. So I'm holding 2 different chipper blades here, and one of them is new and sharp. The other is dull and old, damaged. You can see right here, it's got some major damage. So this one, the dull and damaged one, is gonna need to be replaced or flipped if the other side is sharp. Just remember though, when you do replace or flip any blades, they must all 4 be changed, because if you only flip or replace one of them, it can cause some major problems with the chipper. I'll now be demonstrating how to change the knives. So you can either flip the blade if the other side is sharp, or you replace it altogether. So we'll start with a torque wrench by hand, place it right on the bolt, and loosen. 5 bolts, loosen them all, knife will come right off. Okay, so we have removed all 5 bolts and we can begin to replace or flip the knife. But before so, we need to clean the knife itself and we need to clean on the drum where it sits because we don't want the knife to sit unevenly. So I'm going to take this metal brush and we're just going to scrape off all the dirt, anything that'll cause it to sit unevenly. All right, now that we've done that, I'm gonna clean this off a little bit with the brush, but I'm also gonna take the air compressor and just blow off all the dirt. Fire in the hole! All right, so we've cleaned our knife. We've cleaned the placeholder on the drum. So now the knife can sit evenly. I'm gonna place the knife just like that. And then we'll begin to screw in the bolts one at a time. Now remember, you must tighten all these with the torque wrench set at 180. Next up, I'm gonna show you how to adjust your cable rope knife shear. So, to begin, we'll line up the knives with the cable rope shear right here. So we're gonna spin, see how big the gap is that it passes. Now remember, you're gonna have to do this with all 4 knives. So we're gonna start with this one. Use our Anvil setting. It needs to be 3 millimeters. It looks like this one could be adjusted a little bit, so let me show you how to do that. After checking the gap, we can move down here to these 4 bolts. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. What you're gonna wanna do is loosen all 4 of them on either side of the chipper. Then you can move the cable rope shear freely until it's adjusted to 3 millimeters to the knives. After that, you tighten up all 4 bolts on either side, and you're gonna wanna tighten that with a torque wrench to 180. There's something else you need to remember when you're changing or maintaining the knives, and that is the bolts that hold them. Now the bolts have a lifespan of 5 cycles. 1 cycle is a complete tightening and loosening of the bolt. If the bolt is damaged, you need to go ahead and replace it because it's better to replace it than to have an accident happen. Okay, so next I'm gonna demonstrate how to adjust the anvil. And to begin, we're gonna need to raise the yoke. So we're gonna come over here. We're gonna take the pin out of the yoke spring. So there's also one on the other side that I've already done. Then we'll turn on the machine, turn off the auto feed. Then we'll raise the yoke, put the pin in place, then we'll turn off the machine. Let me show you how. Knives are only half of the process of cutting the wood chips. The other half is the anvil. What the anvil does is it decides the size of wood chips when it comes out of the chipper. If the anvil gap is too large, it's going to cut the wood in too big of chunks, which is going to stress the machine. If it's too small, the wood chips are not going to be able to get out of the chipper. They're not going to be able to feed through the drum. So what we're going to do is we're going to adjust the anvil to 3 millimeters, and we're going to use this anvil setting right here to measure it. Let's check it out. Okay, so To begin, we're going to have to spin the drum until the knife passes right over the anvil. Then you can take your anvil setting, stick it right in there. Should pass right through at 3 millimeters. Just remember, every time you change the knives, you're going to have to adjust the anvil. Now this looks pretty much perfect. But let me show you under the chipper how to adjust the anvil. Okay, now under the chipper, you'll find the anvil. You're going to see it attached by 5 bolts. What you're going to want to do is loosen each bolt with an adjustment wrench. Then you're going to want to take an adjustable wrench and you're going to want to adjust the bolts right here. There's also one back here. And as you adjust these, it will push the anvil either towards the blades, towards the knives, or away from the knives. Once you're done adjusting it as needed, you're going to tighten up all your bolts. And you're going to have to go into the end feed and just check the anvil again. Adjust as needed. So after you have adjusted your anvil to 3 millimeters, you're going to want to spin the drum 1 full rotation and listen for any noises. After that, you can go ahead and start the chipper, disable the auto feed, lower the yoke, put the yoke springs back in, and that is how you maintain your knives and your anvil. Man, if I worked in an office all day, I don't know how I'd hold my farts in all day. That would suck. I guess that's nice about working outside, is you just let it free.